everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we've got an update on the OSHA mandate brought to you with the help of Blackout Coffee Company. To check out their wide assortment of freedom-inspired roasts, teas, and now hot chocolates, go to blackoutcoffee.com/libertydoll. Where we last left off, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals had put a temporary stay on the OSHA vaccine mandate. For a discussion of everything in that mandate, I'll refer you back to the original video, which I will link up in the cards, because the nearly 500-page rule just has way too much in it to try and summarize in a sentence or two.
Wow, this is intense.
That temporary stay gave the Biden administration a deadline to put a federal halt on the mandate while various lawsuits made their way through the court system. The Biden administration ignored this order and told employers to continue full steam ahead. Lawyers for both the Justice and Labor Departments argued that putting a stay on the mandate would prolong the pandemic and would, quote, cost dozens or even hundreds of lives per day. But on Friday night, November 12th, the Fifth Circuit rejected that argument and reaffirmed their original stay pending review. The 22-page decision states that the panel found that OSHA failed to satisfy the standing for an emergency temporary standard, writing that the proposed rule is both over-inclusive and under-inclusive. I'll read off one of these specific passages so you guys can get a better idea of what exactly that means. The panel wrote, on the dubious assumption that the mandate does pass constitutional muster, which we need not decide today, it is nonetheless fatally flawed on its own terms. Indeed, the mandate's strained prescriptions combine to make it the rare government pronouncement that is both over-inclusive, applying to employers and employees in virtually all industries and workplaces in America, with little attempt to account for the obvious differences between the risks facing, say, a security guard on a lonely night shift and a meat packer working shoulder to shoulder in a cramped warehouse, and under-inclusive, purporting to save employees with 99 or more coworkers from a grave danger in the workplace, while making no attempt to shield employees with 99 or fewer coworkers from the very same threat. The mandate's stated impetus, a purported emergency that the entire globe has now endured for nearly 2 years, and which OSHA itself spent nearly 2 months responding to, is unavailing as well, and its promulgation grossly exceeds OSHA's statutory authority. The panel also pointed out that previously, in June 2020, OSHA had specifically determined that an emergency temporary standard was not necessary. Further, OSHA has attempted to institute emergency standards only 10 times in its 50-year existence. 6 of those times were challenged in court, and of those 6, only 1 actually survived, which goes back to that poor track record I mentioned in the first video. The court observed that emergency standards are typically meant to be, quote, delicately exercised in extreme circumstances, and state that the current mandate, as it stands, is anything but delicate. Specifically, the court says, rather than a delicately handled scalpel, the mandate is a one-size-fits-all sledgehammer. Further, the ETS attempts to sidestep the usual notice and comment proceedings for 6 months, when, according to the court, the agency does not actually have the power to do that. To be lawfully enacted, an ETS must 1. Address substances or agents determined to be toxic or physically harmful, or new hazards in the workplace. 2. Show that workers are exposed to such substances, agents, or new hazards in the workplace. 3. Show that said exposure places workers in grave danger. And 4. Be necessary to alleviate employees' exposure to gravely dangerous hazards in the workplace. As we have noted in the past, the precision of this standard makes it a difficult one to meet. Then they point to a previous case in which it was ruled that OSHA's ETS authority requires determination of danger from exposure to harmful substances, not just a danger of exposure, and not exposure to just a danger, but to a grave danger, and not the necessity of just a temporary standard, but that an emergency temporary standard is necessary. So basically, the standards require that OSHA proves that all employees will absolutely 100% be exposed to a very dangerous substance, agent, or new hazard in the workplace, and that an emergency standard is the only way to protect them from grave danger. And the fact that both Biden and OSHA previously came out against mandates works against them in this case, as the court explained that neither party gives any attempt to explain the sudden change in opinion. According to the court, such a change in direction requires a detailed explanation as to why OSHA would reverse on a previous policy in order to be sure that it's not being done arbitrarily. Finally, the court states that not issuing the stay could and would cause irreparable harm to those who have petitioned against it, both financially and in a loss of constitutional freedoms. Which really sounds like the final nail in the coffin. Meanwhile, the number of states that have filed legal challenges to the mandate is up to 27. The Biden administration has said they are confident the mandate will survive those challenges, but from the points brought up in this most recent opinion, I would say it's looking pretty shaky. Biden's deputy press secretary recently told the public that she believes the administration will win simply because calling it a mandate is misinformation and disinformation. Instead, she says, it is a standard for a safe workplace to either comply with weekly testing or to be vaccinated, which sounds like the exact same thing. That's it for this one, folks. Please don't forget to like, share, and comment, or subscribe if you're new here. And if you want to help support the channel in other ways, I have a Thanksgiving cornucopia of ways listed in the description. Until next time, thanks for tuning in and helping me to spread the message of liberty.